Welcome, Middlers, to the Medium in the Middle podcast. My name is Stephanie, and I take you on a journey of self-discovery and spiritual exploration. I am a Reiki master teacher, a spiritual and business mentor, and of course, a psychic medium. And I am here to share my story and help you tap into your extraordinary abilities. Join me every Wednesday as we dive into the realms of intuition, energy healing, and all things mystical. Whether you're a seasoned spiritual seeker or just dipping your toes into the magical waters, this podcast is your go-to source for inspiration, guidance, and a whole lot of lessons and laughter along the way. Let's get started. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Medium in the Middle podcast. My name is Stephanie. I am the Medium in the Middle, and I have a two-part mediumship story for you this week. You are going to like this one. I'm testing out a new setting on my microphone, so hopefully you like it. If you don't like it, let me know over on Instagram at Medium in the Middle. I post a lot of stuff over there if you want to stay in touch. I also am on TikTok. So I am going to leave you on a little bit of a cliffhanger because part 1 is going to be released, and then the podcast is taking a 2-week break, and it will be back on August 13th. That is also the podcast's 6th birthday. Wow, we've been doing this for 6 years. So there will be a 2-week break, and then I will be back on August 13th with part 2 of this story and with a birthday celebration, I'm sure. Just quickly, a few things coming up in August. Reiki Level 1 is happening on August 9th and 10th. Reiki Level 2 is happening on August 16th and 17th. And the August monthly mediumship practice circle is happening on August 23rd. Also, by the time you're hearing this episode, my Mentees in the Middle fall program will be opening on July 24th. So if you are looking for a mentor in the Reiki, mediumship, intuition, business space, I only open the doors to my mentorship 3 times a year. So this is the last time I'll be opening it in 2025. We'll be starting to work together at the end of August, and we will work together until November. So if you're interested in the mentorship program, it's 12 weeks. I will leave all the links you need down below in the show notes. You can find more information on my website, themediuminthemiddle.com. But this will be the last time Mentees in the Middle opens for 2025. So if you feel like now's your time, go check it out and see if it feels right. Okay, let's jump right into part 1 of the wedding poem from Spirit. I know I've said this many times, but by the time I give you guys a podcast episode, a little 20-minute story, these have been months and months and months in the works. So this is one that started many, many months ago. So we're going to start back there. So as you can guess from the title, this story happens at a wedding. And as you know, when you get a wedding invitation, you usually get it months in advance. So I knew I was going to this wedding 9 months before it happened. It's been on the calendar for a long time. It was one of my cousin's weddings, so we were all very excited for this celebration. A little backstory here. My cousin's now wife, her mom has passed away. I know this, obviously, because they're my cousins, pretty much. She's been in the family for a long time. So I know that her mom has passed away. It's not something I think about very often, but I do know that her mom has passed. So I would say about 3 months before the wedding, I started to hear like a wedding speech in my head. And at this time, I had no connection. I hadn't made this connection yet. So I was just like, why am I hearing like a mother of the bride speech in my head? And it kept repeating and repeating over a few months. And for the first few times it happened, I didn't know who it was from, but I knew that I had heard this speech before. So I would hear these pieces of the speech when I was about to sit down at my desk to work, when I was starting with a client with Reiki, in between clients. It was always when I was doing something work related, and it would start to repeat in my head. And it sounded like a speech, a mother of the bride speech, but it was almost like a poem because it was rhyming. So there was some kind of rhyming going on, and when I heard it, I was like, okay, it's a speech, it's a rhyme. And finally, I realized who this was. It was the bride's mother. Now, a little bit more backstory. I have done a reading for the bride's sister. Yes, if you are my friend, I do mediumship readings for my friends and family and my friends of families, and my friends' friends and my friends' friends' family. You know the drill. So many years ago, I did a reading for her sister. So after a few months of hearing this poem in my head, this speech, I would say it was about 6 weeks, where I then started to get the feeling that this mother wanted me to put it in the card. And I started to think, oh, she wants me to write this poem in the card that I'm going to give to the couple. So that's why she keeps repeating it to me in my head. But I never had the opportunity to write it down, and I would only hear pieces of it at a time. So I would think about it and then it would be gone. And it's not my thoughts, so I can't remember it. So even though she said it in my head, because I didn't say it, I can't remember things. I usually only remember things that spirit tells me because I say it out loud. So normally, if you were like, your dad's saying you have 3 brothers, I would then look at you and say, Dad's saying you have 3 brothers. So when I say it out loud, I hear it and then I'm more likely to remember it. But when it's thoughts coming really fast in my head, I did not remember it. So anytime I tried to sit down to write the poem down, it was not there. I got nothing. So now we're getting closer and closer to the wedding date, and I don't have the poem. I can't think of it because it's not in my head. And I start to get a little nervous because, yes, I'm a medium, and yes, my family knows I'm a medium, and yes, I've read for her family before. But I was like, I don't know if I want to put this in her wedding card. I don't know if it's appropriate. So I thought, let me ask the groom's sister because we're super close. So I told the groom's sister, she's into the woo-woo stuff. She's always been my number one hype girl. And I said, hey, this is what's happening. The bride's mother keeps saying this like poem in my head. She wants me to put it in the wedding card, but I don't know if that's a good idea. Do you think it's a good idea? Do you think they would want this? Like, I don't know. And she was like, yeah, like, I think you should do it. I think she would want it. Like, I think it's a really good idea. And I was like, oh, I don't know. Like, I'll think about it. So as the wedding date is getting closer and closer, the nudge from her mom is getting stronger and stronger to put it in the wedding card. Put it in the wedding card. Put it in the wedding card. When I went to buy the card, I heard her in my head, put it in the wedding card. When I was writing the card, put it in the wedding card. And to be honest, I never sat down and channeled the poem because I was nervous. So I kind of was ignoring her mom every time she was trying to get my attention to give me the poem so that I could write it down. I was like, well, if I just ignore her and then I won't have the poem, then if I don't have the poem, I can't put it in the card. So we're going to do that. So I decided that I didn't want to put it in their wedding card because when they're opening their card, it's lots of happy moments. And, you're reading all the cards from your guests. And I don't want there to be this poem, which, yes, it would be beautiful and special, but it's also sad and emotional. So I didn't want to ruin their experience of them opening all their wedding cards and then bam, there's a poem from your mom who passed away when you were a small child. So I decided the poem is not going in the card. So fast forward, it's now the wedding day, and as I'm filling out the card, putting my money in the card, I hear the little nagging feeling about the poem again, and I think to myself, okay, I'm not going to put the poem in their card because I already decided I don't want to ruin the mood of opening their cards, but I will ask her sister at the wedding if she thinks it's a good idea. And if her sister gives me the okay, then I will give her the poem. So that was my plan. I was going to ask her sister at the wedding because, like I said, many years ago, I had a session with her sister. So we met via Zoom, and I knew that she would know what the bride would want, and I knew that she would be honest if it was appropriate or not. Okay, so it's wedding day now. We have the ceremony, it's beautiful, and then we go to the reception and it's cocktail hour and everyone's saying hi to everybody. And I quickly see the bride and she grabs me and she says, "Hey, my sister really wants to meet you in real life. Like, make sure you go see her tonight." She was like, she really wants to meet you in real life. She's only ever met you over Zoom. And I was like, oh yeah, we only have met over Zoom. Okay, yeah, I'll make sure I go say hi. So I kind of took that as a little sign that I should ask her sister about the poem because, in the hustle and bustle of her wedding, the fact that she remembered to tell me to go say hi to her sister, that's not the most important thing on your wedding day. So I was like, okay, this is like the mom giving me the alley-oop, like the straight shot to ask her sister about the poem. So I was like, okay, message received, I shall do it. So I was trying to find her sister all night, but it was busy. There was hundreds of people at this wedding. We were dancing, we were doing this and that. So by the time I found her sister, I would say it was 9 or 10 p.m. in the evening. And I finally found her and I said, hey, like, hi, I'm Steph. And she's like, oh, hi, nice to finally meet you in person. And we chit-chatted. And I said to her, so I have a question. Your mom has been saying this poem in my head over and over. And I think it's like the mother of the bride speech or like what she would say if she had a microphone. I don't really know why it's in poem form, but she wanted me to put it in the wedding card. And I didn't put it in the wedding card. But I wanted to ask you if you think the bride would want it or maybe she doesn't want it, or what do you think? And her face lights up and her eyes open big and she's like, oh yeah, she would love that. Oh yeah, you should definitely write it down. You should definitely tell her. And I was like, you think? She was like, yeah, like write the poem down and give it to her later. And I was like, okay, if you say it's okay, then it's okay. So then she was asking a few questions about her mom, and her mom gave her a few messages and just a little bit of channeling really quickly. And then we kind of parted ways. So at this point, I had the confirmation that I should write down the poem. So later on in the evening, I see the sister again, and she grabs me and she says, my dad really wants to talk to you. And I was like, oh, okay, like here we go. It's very common when I'm at family functions that I kind of get pulled around of like, so-and-so wants to talk to you, so-and-so wants a reading. But to be honest, I was not expecting the father of the bride would want to talk to me. So I was like, oh yeah, of course, it's family. It's an important day. The mother of the bride is an important person to be here in spirit. So she brought me over to her dad and I was like, hi, nice to meet you. I'm Steph. And then we were having a little chat in the corner. So then again, him and I were having a conversation. He was asking some questions. I told him about the poem. I told him about, I don't know why it's in poem form, but I think it was kind of like her speech, her mother of the bride speech. And we just talked about things. We talked about mediumship. He had, now I forget, but one of his parents was passed away. I think it was his mom, and she had a few things to say. Anyway, so just like again, a few messages were shared. And then after a few minutes, our conversation was coming to an end, and I was like, oh, you know what? I haven't gone over to the memorial area because I've been meaning all night to go over and see the area. So I'm going to go over there. And he was like, yeah, like, nice to meet you. Bye. So again, a small backstory. When you walked in, there was a few tables set up. And I didn't know, but one of the tables had a bunch of photos of everyone that had passed, all the loved ones and family members. So at dinner, my mom said, did I see Jadu's picture up there? Jadu is my grandpa. And she's like, oh, did you see that nice picture of Jadu on the table? And I was like, oh no, I didn't even know there was a table with photos. I'll have to go look at it later. So when my mom said that to me earlier, it was kind of in my head of I want to go look at the tables and look at the photos of who had passed. So I left her dad and I decided that I had to be determined to go to this table because every other time I've tried to go throughout the night, you get stopped by someone. Someone wants to do a shot. Someone wants to have a dance. Someone wants to have a chat. But this time I was like, nope, I'm walking straight to the table and I'm going to look at it now. It seems very important that I go now. So I walk over to the table and I'm looking at the photos. And this is where part 1 is going to end. So I'm going to leave you hanging there because the next piece of the story will be part 2 of what happened, what was on that table, how all of these pieces of the puzzle come together. Like I said, the podcast is taking a 2-week break, but I will be back August 13th. If you miss me while I'm gone, you have 272 episodes to listen to or re-listen to. I opened up a lot of availability in August, so if you are looking for a session with me, once I come back from my time off, I have a few weeks where I will have more availability than normal before the mentorship starts again. Once my mentorship program is running, they get 2 days a week dedicated to just my mentees, and that's when my availability will be limited again. So I have lots of availability for virtual appointments coming up in a few weeks. And also, I will be back in the office in Banff on August 13th as well if you want to come see me in person. My books for in-person open 6 weeks in advance. So if you are coming to Banff and trying to plan your trip, just send me an email and we will get you all booked in. All the links you need are down below in the show notes to book with me, to go to my website, to follow me on Instagram, to stay connected over the next 2 weeks. Make sure you're subscribed. I release new episodes every Wednesday. But until 3 Wednesdays from now, Middlers, when I see you back in your ears, I hope you have a wonderful few weeks. Bye. See you in August.